The rain fell in sheets over the crowded refugee quarter of Kharon Outpost. The colony lights flickered against the storm, illuminating rows of makeshift shelters pressed tight along the streets. The smell of damp cloth and spoiled food clung to the air. Inside a sagging canvas tent, Ralith sat hunched on the ground, her arms wrapped tightly around her children. Her scales, once bright with the green shimmer of her Talaran kind, had dulled to gray from grief and hunger. She had been a wife once, the partner of a proud laborer who carried stone from the asteroid mines. But the collapse had taken him, buried alive under steel and rock. Since then, she had scraped and begged for scraps, but every passing day her children's faces grew thinner. "Mother," whispered Kale, her eldest, his small voice trembling. "Will there be food tomorrow?" Ralith closed her eyes. She wanted to promise, wanted to lie for their sake, but her throat locked. Beside him, little Sari clutched her ragged toy, her round eyes wide and hollow. Ralith bowed her head, tears cutting down her cheeks. She had reached the end. And so, with a heart heavy as stone, she made her decision. The next morning, the rain gave way to a pale, harsh sun. Refugees lined the streets as traders and starfarers came to barter. Ralith stood in the market square, her children pressed against her legs, their thin bodies trembling. She raised her voice, though it cracked. "Please," she cried to the crowd. "I beg of you, take my children. Adopt them. Give them food, shelter, anything. I cannot keep them alive." Faces turned. Some glanced with pity, others with disgust. Whispers moved through the crowd. "She offers her own blood? Shameful, but desperate. No one wants mouths to feed." Ralitha's heart burned, but she stood tall. "Do not pity me, pity them. They deserve to live, to laugh, to grow. I beg you, a kind heart must exist among you." But no one stepped forward. Her knees buckled. She pulled her children close, burying her face against their heads. "Forgive me," she whispered. Then, a voice cut through the silence. "I'll take them." The crowd shifted. A human stood at the edge, tall and broad, with travel-worn clothes and a pack slung over one shoulder. His eyes were steady, his jaw firm. Ralith blinked up at him. "You?" He stepped forward. "Name's Aaron Drake. Trader, captain of the freighter Sparrow's wing. If you want someone to care for your children, I will." Gasps rippled through the onlookers. A human? Adopting Talaran spawn? Aaron ignored them. He knelt before Kale and Sari, lowering his voice. "What do you say, kids? Want a warm bunk, hot meals, and someone who won't let you go hungry again?" Kale's lip trembled, but he nodded quickly, clutching his sister's hand. Sari reached toward him with fragile hope. Ralitha's chest constricted. She gripped Aaron's arm. "Promise me," she rasped. "Promise me you will love them. Not as cargo, not as labor, love them as your own." Aaron met her eyes. "I swear it." And somehow, she believed him. That night, Ralith walked with Aaron and her children to the docking bay. The Sparrow's wing waited, its hull gleaming under floodlights. It was not large, but it looked strong, safe. She stopped at the foot of the ramp. "Children," she said softly, kneeling to meet their eyes. "This human, he will give you what I cannot. He will be your protector, your guide." "Mother, no." Kale clung to her arms, his face twisted with fear. "Don't leave us." Her heart shattered. She kissed his forehead, then Sari's. "I will always be with you. In your hearts, in your memories. That is how I live on." Sari's tears wet her cheek. "Come with us." Ralith shook her head. Her body was frail, worn. She knew she could not survive the long journeys of space. Better to give them hope than to burden them with her decline. Aaron gently placed a hand on her shoulder. I'll take good care of them. You have my word. She closed her eyes, breathing through her grief. Then my sorrow ends here.
Go. Live.
Be happy. The children were led aboard, their cries fading as the ramp closed. Ralith stood in the floodlit bay, tears streaming down her face. She had given away her heart so that it could beat on without her. Life aboard the Sparrow's wing was unlike anything Kale and Sari had ever known. Aaron treated them not as burdens, but as his own kin. He taught Kale how to read star charts, how to calibrate the navigation system. He let Sari sit on the captain's chair, showing her how to steer while the ship was on autopilot. Meals were warm and plentiful. For the first time in months, their bellies were full. Aaron even kept a small stash of sweets, which he shared with laughter and playful scolding when Sari begged for too many. At night, when nightmares of the refugee quarter woke them, Aaron was always there. He sat by their bunks, telling stories of Earth, blue oceans, tall mountains, forests alive with song. Slowly, the fear in their eyes faded, and slowly, Aaron's ship was filled not just with cargo, but with laughter. Yet Aaron carried a weight of his own. One evening, as the ship drifted in quiet space, Kale asked, "Captain, why did you take us in? No one else wanted to." Aaron's face softened. "Because I knew what it felt like to be unwanted. I grew up in an orphanage back on Earth. I swore if I ever had the chance, I'd never let kids go through that alone." Kale's eyes stung. He whispered, "Then you saved us." Aaron smiled, pulling the boy close.
No, Kale.
You saved me too. Months later, when the Sparrow's wing docked again at Kharon Outpost, Ralith was gone. The tent she had lived in was empty, her belongings scattered. The locals said she had passed quietly in her sleep not long after her children left. Kale and Sari wept. Aaron placed his arms around them both, his own throat tight. She gave everything so you could live. The best way to honor her is to live well, to carry her love forward. And they did. Kale grew into a fine navigator, Sari into a healer who studied alien medicine across the colonies. Wherever they went, they carried their mother's memory and Aaron's unshakable love. People told stories of the human trader who adopted 2 alien orphans, raising them not as outsiders, but as his own flesh and blood. And among the stars, the tale spread that sometimes, in the cold void of space, humanity's greatest gift was not strength or cunning, but love.